Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads, and today for you I have my 2023 reading plans. So before I proceed any further, I was hoping to do Vlogmas this year and post a video every day. December has been really hard. I'm a special education teacher, and I have two paraprofessionals that are full-time and one part-time assigned to my room. Well, I lost one of those paraprofessionals and one of those full-time paraprofessionals, and the other full-time paraprofessional just has been sick and hasn't really been at work because she's just had a lot going on. So I've been doing like the work of three people. So I just come home utterly exhausted. So that is why you have not seen and why I have not been consistent with my Vlogmas videos. But today I wanted to record what I'm hoping to get to in 2023. Now, I don't think I'll read all of these books. Like, some of these books have been on TBRs, multiple TBRs in 2022. And I'm just like, I've got to read these books. In addition, I'm dubbing 2023 as the year of big books, and you will see why. There's a lot of hefty fantasy books. So, and I'm hoping that like my brain can start to just come home and be able to get lost into a fantasy world. This month has just been hard for me to do that. So first things, Kate from the Literary Apothecary and some other people are doing a Wheel of Time read along where they do a book a month. I'm hoping to hop onto that bandwagon. I've only read Eye of the World. I did enjoy it, but I wanted to prioritize Realm of the Elderlings because I just simply adored that. I also hope to start rereading Realm of the Elderlings. And at this pace, like I don't plan on reading a book a month like I did when I was reading it the first time, and just really taking my time through it. But this, what I'm showing you here is what I hope to read. I hope to complete the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Flourish, and Blotts 2023 reading challenge. And I tried it last year. I did not finish it. This year their theme is the Quidditch Cup, and there's just different levels to it. So like if you finish 12 prompts, then you are the announcer. If you finish 24 prompts, you are on the team. You are Quidditch captain if you finish 36 prompts, and you are Quidditch Cup champion if you finish all 52 prompts. So I'm hoping like 52 books and the Wheel of Time, I can do this. However, I've got some massive books. So that being said, let's just get started. I have piles and piles of books around me. Hopefully some of them have fallen. They were stacked in order. Some of them have fallen. So hopefully I can find the books. But the first prompt is Quidditch involving a sport. And so I plan on reading Beartown by Frederick Bachman, which this involves hockey. And also this would help with my Reading Around the World challenge. The next prompt is the Quidditch World Cup. So set somewhere you've never been. And that would be The Stranger by Albert Camus. And this is set in Algeria. And it's about a man who gets drawn into like a senseless murder on an Algerian beach. And it's absurdist fiction from what I understand. It's short, so that's why I'm kind of hoping I can quickly read it. And it would also fit for my Reading Around the World challenge. This would fit for Algeria. Quidditch Pitch set in nature. I'm kind of stretching on this one. And that would be Caroline, which is Little House Revisited by Sarah Miller. And this is the story of Kara Ingalls. So Ma Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie. And I just said, you know what? It's set on a prairie. It's set in nature. So that's why I'm kind of like, it's kind of a stretch, but I loved The Little House on the Prairie growing up, and I thought this would be just an interesting read to hear that story told from a different point of view. And then the next prompt is Quidditch Through the Ages, and that would be historical fiction. And so my plan is to read 1,000 White Women, The Journals of May Dodd by Jim Fergus. And from what I understand, this is just a story of someone who was like supposed to, like a woman who was supposed to go to jail, and what they did is they took women who were supposed to go to jail or like be institutionalized, and they shipped them off to the West and had them marry Native American men to try to bring colonialism over there. It's based on true story, I believe. I could be wrong. But I've heard good things about it. Now you're probably going, where are all the big books? They're coming. Just wait. The next book I plan on reading, so that would be, or the next prompt is Golden Snitch, or I think includes a magical creature. So I plan on reading Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb. And this is book 1 in the Soldier's Son trilogy. I love Robin Hobb. I want to read more of her, and I'm assuming that there's going to be a magical creature in there. Hopefully there is. If there isn't, I can easily substitute it with a Wheel of Time book, but I'm like, it's fantasy. There's probably going to be a magical creature in here. The next prompt is Quaffle, with a title that includes the letter Q. The title doesn't have to start with the letter Q. It has to include the letter Q, which was harder for me to find than I thought it would be. I think I only had one book that starts with that has the letter Q in it, and that would be The Inheritance of Arcadia Divinia. And all I know, it's magical realism. And Arcadia Divinia invites her family to their funeral so that way they can claim their inheritance. That's really all I know. Again, I'm hoping, because it's short, that'll help balance out some things later on down the line. Then the next prompt is Bludger, a book you think will knock your socks off. I don't know if it'll knock my socks off. I'm hoping it will. And there's no way that I'm going to read this first. Like, I'm not going to be reading the prompts for this challenge in the order that they're given, because I can't. Because this is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 4 in the Stormlight Archives. And I have yet to start the Stormlight Archives. So, that kind of spoiler alert. There'll be the other Stormlight Archives books in this video. The next prompt is Snitch, a book with a golden aspect, and that would be The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the first book in the Mistborn series, Mistborn Era 2 series, and the magic system relies on metals, and gold is one of those metals. So hence it has a golden aspect. The next prompt is Catching the Snitch. The ISBN number has 1, 5, and 0 in it. So the ISBN number, when you look at the back of the book, you've got the number there, the barcode. That was also hard to find, but I plan on reading Jackaroo by Cynthia Voigt. And this is the first in her Tales of the Kingdom quartet, and I really enjoyed this book. I've read this several times shortly after it came out, so I'm looking forward for the reread. The next book, Nimbus 2000, set or written before 2000. So I plan on reading my first ever Stephen King book since the 8th grade when I read it, and it scared the crap out of me. And that would be Stephen King's 11/22/63, which is a time portal story about someone who discovers like a way to go back to the days leading up to the JFK assassination and he attempts to stop it, from what I understand. So I'm hoping that this is a good one. I've heard good things about this. 1963, it for sure is set before 2000. So then the next book is Nimbus 2001, set or written after 2001. This one I might switch out depending upon what book of the month comes across my way. If there's anything that's like a lighthearted romance that really appeals to me from book of the month. But for right now on my shelves, I thought I would give a shot with Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I really liked Sky in the Deep by her, which was her first, like, it was like a YA fantasy that was kind of like Norse inspired. This one is her first adult fantasy. I'm hesitant on this one because The Girl the Sea Gave Back, which was like a follow-up to Sky in the Deep, I DNF'd after like 100 pages and was like, I don't like this. So I'm worried that this won't land for me. That's why I'm like, this book might get switched out. Then Firebolt contains a special gift. So some people are interpreting contains a special gift as the character has like a special magical ability. Other people are interpreting it as the character, like a character receives a gift from someone. I'm interpreting it as receiving a special gift, and it's kind of a loose interpretation, but that would be Gallant by V. Schwab. And this is about someone who kind of gets the gift of her mother's journal, and then she gets the gift of a house that she goes to and visits. And so that's why I'm kind of loosely interpreting it. It's also a shorter book, and I needed a shorter book to break up some of the heavier books to come. Then the next book is Quidditch Gloves, set in winter. I'm assuming that this is set in winter. It has winter in the title, and that would be A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabis. I don't know. I'm assuming Dabo because she's French. So this is a French YA, the first book in a French YA fantasy quartet. I've heard rave things about this book, and it would also fulfill the France prompt for my reading around the world. So I chose that one. And then Quidditch Goggles, a character who wears glasses. I have the book. So I have a book that has, it's like a bind up of two books in one. So maybe that's cheating that I'm using that book twice, because I'm going to use one book for one prompt and the other book for another prompt. I'm not going to pull that book out because actually it's buried under a stack of other books. But I'm going to be reading a Hercule Poirot novel by Agatha Christie because he wears glasses. Then Chaser, a hard-to-catch book by Robin, a hard-to-catch book. And so I'm going to do Robin Hobb, Forest Mange. Again, this might be kind of a stretch, but I'm saying this because it was hard for me to find the Soldier Son trilogy at used book sales. So it was hard for me to catch it. And then Beater includes a competition. And from what I understand, and asking people, like, is there a competition in any of these books? I was told that Words of Radiance, which is the second Stormlight Archives book, contains a competition. So I do plan on reading the Stormlight Archives. I'm really excited, but I need to read Warbreaker before I can start in on the Stormlight Archives. So winter break for Warbreaker, hopefully. Then the next book is Keeper. It includes a character that you will fall in love with. And I'm hoping to use Elsky by Cynthia Voigt for that prompt. And I read this years ago, only once. This is the fourth book in the Tales of the Kingdom by her. And I think that there is like a slight romance component to this. So I'm hoping that I fall in love with the male protagonist. Then Seeker includes a found family. So I'm going to use The Tale of Oriel, again by Cynthia Voigt. This is the third book in the Tales of the Kingdom. And I did not know that this book existed. So I've read the other three books in it, but I have not read this one. And it sounds like it's a story of two friends. I feel like friends found family. The next prompt is Quidditch, team of Britain and Ireland. So the book has to be set in the British Isles. Sorry. I wrote super small and my eyes are getting older. So this is set in the British Isles, and that would be The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. And this is about the Enigma code breakers in England during World War II. And then Appleby Arrows, related to archery. So I plan on reading The Trials of Apollo. And I'm not sure if you can see that. There's Apollo the Archer. So Apollo and I believe Athena, they both were known for bringing archery to humans in Greek mythology. And I've actually only read the first two, maybe the third book in the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief series. So I know I'm kind of reading out of order of when recorded and published things. But again, I need something lighter in the midst of Stormlight and Wheel of Time. The next book is Bally Castle Bats, a Regency era book. I think this is considered Regency era. I did a Google search, or I looked up like a Goodreads search of like, is this Regency era? It said that it was. And that would be Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. And from what I understand, this is, it's Regency era because it is set during the Napoleonic Wars. And from what I understand, that this is kind of like a competition between magicians, I think. I've heard really good things about it. When it came out years ago, I found out the hardback used. I had it. I got rid of it. Then I've heard really good things about it again recently. So I'm like, all right. I saw it used again at my library, so I grabbed it and I said it's time to give it a go. Then Chudley Cannons includes a battle. So this is assuming that I finish Ruin, the third book. So I've got two big books I got to get through in the next 2 weeks of December. If not, I'll have to switch this book out and use Ruin instead. But my hope is to read Wrath by John Gwynne, which is book 4 in The Faithful and the Fallen. So, but I need to read Ruin first, book 3. And then the next prompt is Holy Head Harpies, includes a group of strong females. And so for that, I'm going to read The Huntress by Kate Quinn. And this is about a woman who she joins like an all-female night bomber regiment, and she's like from Soviet Russia, and they're fighting against Hitler. So those are strong females. Then the next book is Pride of Portree. I think. I don't know. My messy handwriting there. But bottom line, you need to read a book that represents the LGBTQIA plus community. And for that, my plan and my hope is to read The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Now you see why I'm dubbing this the year of the big books. Then the next prompt is Puddlemore United. It has multiple POVs, multiple point of views. And for that, I plan on reading Leanne Moriarty's 9 Perfect Strangers. From what I understand, this has multiple point of views. She is from Australia, so then I'll be able to knock out another prompt for my Reading Around the World challenge. And then the next prompt is Tutshell Tornadoes includes a weather event. And I have never read this book. I was an English education major, never read this book. So I plan on reading Zora Neale Hurston. Her book, Their Eyes Were Watching God. There is a hurricane, from what I understand, in this book. I've heard really good things about this. I'm also hoping that a book club that I'm a part of that will read this at some point in time next year. But regardless, I'm going to read this, and I'm going to use this for America in my Read Around the World prompt. Then the next book is Wingtown Wanderers, includes travel or adventure. I mean, I could use a Wheel of Time book, but if I'm going to be reading Rhythm of War, I need to get to Rhythm of War, and I need to read Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. And I'm assuming there's adventure in here. I'm assuming there might be travel in here, but for sure there's probably going to be adventure in here. And just a real side note, folks, shop your library book sales. I found this for $2 at my library book sale, which is crazy to me. But then the next prompt is Hogwarts House Cup includes a celebration. And for that, I plan on reading On Fortune's Wheel by Cynthia Voigt. And I believe that there's a wedding in here. Or at least she's about to, the main character is about to get married. And this is the second book in the Tales of the Kingdom quartet. The next prompt is Gryffindor. So you have to read a book that the character has some of those house traits of Gryffindor, and they're known for like bravery and things like that. So I plan on reading book 2 in the Unwind trilogy. Now it says book 2 in the Unwind trilogy, but there are 4 books in that. So this is for sure an old copy of the book. So that would be Unholy by Neil Shusterman. I read Unwind this year, and the premise is like, in order to appease people who are pro-choice and those who are pro-life, what they've decided is that if a child is born, they have to live. You have to carry a baby to full term. They can be born, and then once they hit a certain age, you can unwind them. So when they're an adolescent, you can unwind them. Basically, they're killed and they're harvested for body parts to use for other people. And there are 3 kids who are selected to be unwound, and they kind of try to escape that. And then what does that do to their world? So this carries on that story. I thought Unwind was okay. I'm going to continue on with book 2. I have all of the books in the series. we'll see how I feel about book 2 before I decide, do I want to continue on with the series or not? Because I know sometimes the first book in a series isn't always that good. Then the next book is Hufflepuff. And Hufflepuff characteristics are trustworthy and hardworking. And so I plan on reading, there went my book. Hold on, let me grab it. Sorry. This is an unedited video, folks. So the book that I plan on reading is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I've read only 2 books by John Steinbeck, The Pearl, which I absolutely hated, and Of Mice and Men. I've heard really good things about this. It's the story of 2 twins, and one of them has the Hufflepuff characteristics. One of them does not. The next book is Ravenclaw. They are known for being brainy. And so I have this bind-up of the complete Sherlock Holmes. My dad gave this to me. And I plan on reading The Study in Scarlet from here. Then the next, if we're going on the house themes, would be Slytherin. So ambitious, destined for greatness. And I plan on reading Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. Now, I typically don't read nonfiction, but Alexander Hamilton, he was destined for greatness. And there's really tiny print in here. I may get to this, I may not. So, like I said, year of the big books. Then the next prompt is Harry Potter. It includes a celebrity. I am stretching this one, folks, and that would be Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. And the reason why I'm saying it includes a celebrity is that, well, one, why I'm including this on this TBR is this has been on several TBRs in 2022, and I need to buckle down. I need to read this. And I feel like her father is quite the celebrity for the premise of the story. Her father is quite the celebrity. Oliver Wood, the next prompt is Oliver Wood includes a fanatical character. I started rereading this year. I did not finish rereading it. So we're going to try again. And that would be Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And Mr. Collins is quite the fanatical character. The next prompt is Angelina Johnson, a BIPOC author. And that would be The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Again, I've been wanting to read this book this year, and it just didn't happen. I need to make it happen. The next prompt is Katie Bell, a character who gets cursed. And that would be Robert Jordan, The Great Hunt. I figure if I'm going to do an Wheel of Time read along, I need to read. I can use one of them. But I could use Ruin, I can use Wrath for this prompt as well. The next prompt is, Alicia Spinnet, a female author. And so that would be book 3 that I'm going to use from the Soldier Sun trilogy, Renegades Magic by Robin Hobb. And then I have a duology because the prompts are, first is Fred Weasley duology, George Weasley duology. So the first book and then the second book of the duology. So I plan on reading Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler and Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. And then Ginny Weasley, a book of poetry. And that would be The Poet X by Elizabeth. I'm going to mispronounce her name. Elizabeth Acevedo. And she's actually a street poet. She does street poetry. And I started reading this, or started listening to this on audiobook, it's really beautiful. So I'm looking forward to reading that. The next prompt is Cho Chang, written by an Asian or AAPI. And that would be The Three-Body Problem by Xishen Liu and translated by Ken Liu. And then Marcus Flint, Involves a Fire. Ugh, sorry, I have like piles everywhere right now. So Involves Fire, and I thought Prairie Fires, The American Dreams of Laura Ingalls Wilder. I mean, it's got fire in the title. Let me pull this stack closer so I'm not constantly bending over. Oh, don't fall. Okay. Then the next prompt is Cedric Diggory, Includes Vampires. I've had this book for years and I just have yet to touch it. But that would be The Passage by Justin Cronin. From what I understand, this includes vampires. Victor Crumb, A Character Who Speaks Another Language. I'm going to use God Emperor Dune by Frank Herbert because I need to continue on in this series. I have enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to have to reread it too, just because I feel like it's just dense. Draco Malfoy, a large fandom following this book. The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So I will finally begin my Stormlight journey with this book. Weasley is Our King is the next prompt. It contains royalty. A lot of fantasy does. But I needed to choose a shorter book. So that would be Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. And this is his first book in the Shattered Sea trilogy. So I figured it'd be something shorter to help me balance out some of the longer books. And then the next prompt is Starfish Stick, Related to the Sea. So that would be Half the World, book 2 in the Shattered Sea trilogy. Then the next prompt is Ronsky Faint, Includes Misdirection. And I thought I could read either Curtain or The Mysterious Affairs at Styles by Agatha Christie. So I'll read one of these books for like a character who wears glasses, and then the other book for this prompt. So that way I can read the whole of this book. I can't read what I wrote down here for this prompt. So this is a book. The next prompt is a book that has taken you a long time to read. And I'm going to use Justin Cronin, The 12. This would be the second book in, the Passage trilogy. I don't know what the name of this trilogy is called. If there's a different, it's just in the Passage trilogy. So this is the second book in the Passage trilogy. And like I said, I've owned the trilogy for some time. I just haven't read it yet. Then the next book is Body Blow. It has a body part on the cover. So in the hopes of trying to find a shorter book, The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. And it's got a body on there. So there's body parts for sure on the cover. And the last prompt is Double 8 Loop, Multiple Authors. I started this. I mean, I've read chapter 1. So I've read 16 pages, but I don't think I'm going to finish this book this month. And that would be Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. So this is 2 different authors. I can't remember who, but it's 2 different authors. So I figured this would for sure work, and I do want to start reading The Expanse. There is a bonus prompt where it mentions Harry Potter. I have no idea what book to read for that. If you have an idea of what to read, I would love to hear it. I know Ready Player One mentions Harry Potter. I've read Ready Player One. I enjoyed it. I just have no desire to read it again. Um, so that now you understand why I'm like, this is the year of big books. Hopefully I can read them all. Um, for sure, some things might change as other books come out and as my brain may or may not be able to handle some of these heavy books. But that being said, that's kind of what I have planned. Let me know in the comments down below what you think I need to read first. Like what of those books that are series, which series should I prioritize first? Happy reading, everyone.